Rising Great Awakenings. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a sign for us today. Reverse my screen. Okay, let's try that. Good Rising Great Awakenings. I'm sorry it's backwards on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. There must be a way to reverse the screen on YouTube. I'm going to figure that out. Not today. Alright, so today is Neterian Devotion Thursday. Thank you for tuning in. Good rising. Let me move this closer so I can actually see Victoria and H. Good rising to me. My name is Tachia, aka Arit, and on Thursdays we talk about Neterian devotion, different topics in Kemetic spirituality. I've stopped referring to it exclusively as Kemetic because that limits it to one time or place, and that would be in Egypt. And I believe, and many other people believe, that this culture, wisdom, and spirituality existed in many places, not just Kemet, not even just Africa. And I believe that they all follow the Neterus of their tradition. The Neterus, the Neteru, are cosmic forces of nature that we can learn how to use to manifest and create the same way that Kemetic did. Kemetic, the creator of the gods and goddesses. Thank you for tuning in. Lovely Red, Oliver, Lindquist, and Odd. I'm not sure how you pronounce A-D. Odd. Anyway. Oh, good rising. Thank you for tuning in. Would you like to join the conversation? Just let me know. Yes, so as I was saying before, the Neteru, we talked about this last week. Neter is the god. Neteru, goddess. Neteru is plural. So each one of the gods and goddesses represents a force of nature that's used in creation. And we can learn to create the same way. And that is the reason for the body of my work. From here on. Good rising, thanks, Great Awakening, thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to join the conversation, just let me know. I'm hesitant to just let people join the live because sometimes they want to play a match game. I made a cute little sign. Good rising, Great Awakenings. Thank you for tuning in. Kindly tap your screen if you're enjoying this conversation. So how did I get into this? Well, I was studying different cultures from around the world. Oh, thank you so much for the love. Thank you for tapping the screen. Different cultures and spiritual traditions around the world. And I realized that I needed to go back to Kemet because that's where it all began. I was a grad student in astronomy and then cultural astronomy, and I really got into Sirius and the pyramids, and that led me to Kemet. And at the time, my spiritual teacher was what is known as a Black Hebrew Israelite, so he was already against anything Egyptian because he believed that the Egyptians enslaved the Hebrew Israelites. However, now he doesn't feel that way anymore. But anyway, it was always in the back of my mind. And then eventually, I just dove into Dr. Mwada Ashby's work. He started with the book Egyptian Yoga. This book here Egyptian Yoga by Dr. Moana Ashby, and then I started going to their conferences, and I became one of the, I guess, leaders, or I don't know what you call it, the people that run the devotional services online. I started doing that. Then I started writing music, devotional music, and in 2012 I established a temple for my practice, the sound healing and music. Asmataji Temple of Divine Light, Healing, and Sweet Sounds. And then eventually I just stopped, I'm no longer an active member of that community. I'm focusing on this temple, Asmataji. It's the word I made up, I don't know why. It honors three of the deities that I'm the closest to. That's Aset, As, Ma'at, and then I learned Mati is the dual goddesses of Ma'at. Ujad, Uben Nefer, Aye, Ayebji. Hi, thank you for tuning in. Today is Neterian Devotional Thursday, and we're just talking about the Neteru and different aspects of this Neterian devotional practice. So thanks for tuning in. About the temple, the name, okay. And then I also practiced. I was also doing Babaji's Kriya Yoga before I found Dr. Ashby's work. I was doing Babaji's Kriya Yoga, and his counterpart, Mataji. So that's where this part comes from. But Mataji, where she spells it, only has one A. So this is Asta Mataji, Temple of Divine Light, Healing, and Sweet Sounds. I had a really interesting experience with Babaji and Mataji back in 1990. I guess December 1991, perhaps. Thank you so much for showing the love and sharing and tapping your screen. You guys, and thank you for your awakenings. Thank you for tuning in. Tap your screen. I'm not going to give you any time. And I was following, thank you so much. Natural waves. These glasses help me see, but the sun is shining right in my eyes, so I'm having a hard time. Oh, natural mystic gems. All right. So I was, it was winter of 1991, and I had just gone on my first tour. I know this is off topic of Neterian devotion, but not really. My first tour, music tour as a musician, it wasn't with my own band, it was with another band. And they were not health conscious at all, and everyone got dreadfully ill with a lung infection. And then I caught it too. By the time I got home, I was really sick. I figured I had pneumonia. It felt like I had a hole in my back. And cold air was just blowing through, and people were coming to visit me. Like one friend came to perform last rites. Because I don't go to the doctor, I don't do drugs, I don't go to the hospital. I was like, nope, I'm going to get through this. You know, my young girls were running around. We were getting ready to have our version of Hanukkah ceremony, winter solstice ceremony. And I was really into Rastafarian, which is very masculine, very patriarchal. And that's where I was. And he said to me, I don't think you should pray to Jah. You need to pray to the mother. And I said, what? I didn't know about the goddess. I didn't know about the divine feminine principle. I was like, the mother, what? And so I started to, they said if you say Babaji's name 3 times, that he will come appear to you and help you. So I chanted Babaji, 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 Mataji, 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 and literally, not literally, they actually appeared at the foot of my bed. I saw them. They were there. Because I had gotten to the point where it hurt so much, I didn't want to breathe. And it's like, I'm not taking another breath. I'm just not. That was my mindset. And they said, sit up. So I said, oh, I sat up. Because I'd been bedridden for 8 days and 8 nights. I was just lost. Did not know about the divine feminine at all. And they were sitting at the foot of the bed, and they told me, I was standing at the foot of the bed, told me to sit up, and they said, okay, now breathe. And I said, no, I'm not breathing again, it hurts too much. And they said, we're going to show you how to breathe through the pain. And I sure wish I remembered that breathing technique, because I would be a billionaire by now. I don't remember the breathing technique, but I was breathing, and I was amazed, it didn't hurt. And then they said, now go into the living room and do the topsy-turvy pose. The topsy-turvy pose, because that's a yoga practice I was practicing, it was Babaji's Kriya Yoga. And that's the one that's similar to the shoulder stand, or also known as the candlestick, also known as Gamba pose, where this is your back area, and you prop yourself up on your shoulders, the shoulder stand. Only with the topsy-turvy pose, you're on your back more, and you prop yourself up, and it opens your heart chakra. So it literally opened my heart chakra and unblocked my lungs. And I saw a light flash, I heard a pop in my head, and all this mucus started coming out. And I was fine after that. For a few years after that, whenever I'd be in the cold, I would feel the pain in my back, but I can reach it. I can reach the spot with my tuning fork. So it's very rare that it happens again. And never like that again. Never like that. So that is why this temple is called Asumataji, Temple of Divine Light, Healing, and Sweet Sounds, because I could never forget the healing that I received from Babaji and Mataji. Alright, so we have Nitras here. That's why I'm getting all these hearts. Okay, well, I wanted to do a little bit of discussion today, and then I would open it up, not discussion, a little bit of discourse, and then I'd open it up for conversation. That's how I'm going to run it, because there are a few things I'd like to talk about each session. So I have some tea here. I didn't get a chance to drink it this morning. That's one of my habits, is hot tea. So we're talking about my Neterian practice. I didn't bring that book up. I recently went to the Kemetic Soul Yoga Fest, and Queen Apu was there, and she was really the first Kemetic priestess that I got to know and work with. I got to take her, this was back in 2003, maybe 2002, where you could call her office on the phone, and she'd answer the phone, and you could arrange to have a one-on-one consultation. So I went through the Sacred Woman, Queen Pua training with her one-on-one. And, they set you up for a spiritual practice. Don't let no one judge you. You look beautiful, let no one judge you. Well, thank you, Mr. Gnome. Thank you. I don't know what you're referring to. I'm almost too bad. Thank you very much. Beauty comes from within. So she pretty much teaches you wake up at 4 a.m. and you do your ablutions. And shower, and then I learned from the people at the Earth Center about the chants you say while you're taking the shower. Ablutions. And then I learned from the Earth Center about, the process of cleaning yourself during the shower, the prayers you offer during the shower. And then from Temple of Neteru, this is Dr. Ashby's work. I'll be reading from his book a little bit. Neteru, which means hidden divinity. I learned the chants and the prayers and the yoga posture system, the meditation techniques, the breathing techniques, all of these things that really elevated me in my spirituality and my healing. Up until then, I didn't know myself at all. I had no idea what people were saying or what they were talking about. When they say know yourself, I didn't have a clue. And I'm so sorry that the words are backwards on the screen. I'm going to learn how to fix that on YouTube. But today I don't know. I learned how to do it on TikTok. So that's where I learned about my spiritual practice, how it's going right now. And then recently I was at the Kemetic Yoga Fest and I bought Queen Afua's book on listening to yourself, how to really quiet your mind and just completely tune into yourself. And it's interesting that she has on there that you take an inner shower where you drink water and tea, and then you have your outer shower where you take your physical shower. And I really appreciated that because I used to feel kind of weird that I always start my day with tea. I don't buy bottled juices. I make juice, or else I'm having tea. So I just wanted to put that in there. If you're having a spiritual practice, you want to add your cup of medicinal tea. And she also recommends you have a green smoothie, before you start your spiritual work. And then I used to try to do the whole thing in one day. The devotion, the meditation, the study, the ritual, the yoga postures, the breathing exercises. I used to try to do all of those things in one day. And I realized this is impossible for me to do all those things in one day. I would get so depressed because I'd see other people and I would assume they were getting all of these things done in one day. And I just didn't know how I was going to get them all done in one day. So I was talking to my therapist about my frustration because she notices that when I would get depressed or have a downward spiral, it's because I hadn't done my practice. I hadn't made time to do all of the things. And I said, yeah, you're supposed to do 30 minutes of this and an hour meditation and 30 minutes of this, and you're supposed to study for an hour, and you're supposed to do this, and you're supposed to do that. And on top of that, you gotta, take a shower and do the ablations and put on white clothing, and you have to make sure the room is clean. And she was like, well, what if you just don't do an hour every day? You just do 15 minutes of everything every day. And then on days that you don't even have that, you just do 5 minutes of everything in one day. And then if you don't have time for that, you just do 5 minutes. And I was like, what? I never thought of that like that before. So now I have a chart. I wonder if I should go get it. Yeah, I'm gonna go get it to show it to you because it really helped me. Be right back. Thank you for waiting. I hope you're still here. I just really wanted to share this. This is really personal. Like, this is what I do. This is not part of any of my teachers. Oh, looks like I have. Thank you so much for tapping the screen. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, I know it's back as YouTube. So I'm gonna comment here. Oh, thank you so much for tuning in. Lynette, Louise, thank you. I think you were here earlier this week. All right, so here you have it. This is my Asmatashi Temple chart of my spiritual practice. So I can keep track. So even if I don't do everything in one day, I know what I need to do the following day, and I I try to do 15 minutes, some days I only do 5. And then down here, these are the tasks that I need to do once in a while. This is like my self-care. I know it's backwards YouTube, I'm sorry. Maybe I'll try to post it. But it actually helps me keep track. So I usually always get the devotion done because that's my favorite aspect. That's when you sit down and read music or write new songs. The rec app, sometimes I only get to read a page, but I like to read a chapter, whatever book I'm studying. Then I do my sound healing on myself. I try to do 15 minutes of that every day. Sometimes I only do 5. And then if I do a group healing, that counts. Oh, thank you so much, Dua. And then Akusanem, that's the yoga posture system that I have developed from studying with Dr. Mona Ashby, the Neteru, the movements of the gods and goddesses. But my system, Akusanem, which is life being wellness, it does incorporate some of the movements and postures from Babaji School Yoga. And just when I do my yoga practice, I don't just recite the reflections, I sing them, I'm chanting. It's really invigorating. And I will be teaching that very soon, in person and online, very soon. And then also, so the Hekau is chanting. I try to chant 15 minutes. I set my timer, sometimes only 5 minutes. Meditation. I've been talking a lot about that. That's the one that came through me after October 17th, 2022, when I had the green flash sunrise, and my spirit guides broke down this wonderful meditation where you use the Neteru, the frequencies, the chants. You visualize the ideal solids. It's Hesiod, Neteru, the vibrations of the gods and goddesses. And that, when I was doing that regularly, like the things that are going on right now, they're a manifestation of that time that I put in when I was so consistent. And then I've also started doing limpieza botanicas, when after you dust and sweep your house, and then you mop it or vacuum, whatever, then you go back and rinse with these herbal concoctions. They're botanicals, different herbal formulas. Like I've been working with the one to increase protection and remove toxic energies from the home, and one to increase business and make your space more inviting to customers. And when I was doing that work consistently, my business was like really, I was seeing it grow. And then this is my self-care chart, okay? Then I have trying to do a yoni steam, taking a really nice hot bath, pedicure. Then I always make sure I do a celestial check-in, then recording new music, and writing my blogs and books. So those I don't try to do every day, but I try to do, I do one. I make sure I do one, because with me, I would always do the music, or I would always get the pedicure done, but I wouldn't get the other things done. So I made this chart, and that way I'm always getting everything done. But those are the main aspects of my spiritual practice: Uwashu, devotion, Rekab, study, Kemetone, sound healing, Akusanem, yoga posture systems, Hekau, chanting, Uwa, meditation, and limpieza botanicas is cleaning the temple space before and after. I learned that it's really important to clean up right after. Like I would clean before, and then I would be gone, and then I wouldn't clean up again until I needed it again, or the next time I was cleaning. But no, you have to do it after as well, because when you're doing the spiritual work, you're releasing emotions, feelings, thoughts, toxic energy and residue, and so you want to clean after your devotional practice as well. Okay? And then I started doing another chart to help me keep track of the spiritual practices that I was doing, like which ones I wanted to do in particular. And then I have this other chart for the projects I have, because I was not working on these projects. My book, getting the classes ready, making candles, and the salves. And it's easy for me to do the salves, but working on the book, I just kept putting it off for 2 years. And so that is how I got pulled away from my spiritual practice a few months ago because I was like, okay, after I let everything go and finish the books, and then I had to do the rehab. So I kind of got away from it. Not totally, but just the way I should, the way I like it. And so on November 1st, which is one of the days of the natural holy days, is when I'm going to come back into alignment and start again. So that was a little breakdown of some of the aspects of the Neterian spiritual practice. And then I want to, we had a reading from the Neteru Temple of Aset Manual, daily chant song, meditation, devotional worship manual. And a little bit. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the name of this practice is Sima Tawi, which means union with the divine. Divine union. Uja Uben Nefer. Thank you so much. Hazy Galaxy 5666. Thank you for your gifts. Thank you for the candles. Oh, that is so sweet. I will invite you on in a minute. I wanted to finish having this little time for reading, and then I will invite you on so we can talk. All right, so I'm just going to do a little bit of reading from the book to explain a bit more about the spiritual practice. I'm going to read, a page or so every time we're on here, just so you can learn more about this practice. And as I said, I no longer refer to it as Kemetic practice. It's Neterian, because that way it's not limited to one location or place. I believe that this type of practice is experienced all over the world by human beings that have gone beyond the veil and see the divinity of life. And it just has many different names, many different ways to pronounce it. For example, on Tuesdays we're going to be talking about the correlation between Kemet and Tameri. Tameri is the Neterian or Kemetic term for this continent. So if you're interested in learning about the Olmec and their spirituality, we'll be diving into that. Okay, so for today we're on page 11. So what is Sima Tawi? What is Shedi? Shedi is the name of the spiritual practice. In chapter 4 and chapter 17 of the Neteru, the book of Coming Forth by Day, Sma or Sima or Smai Tawi is used. It means union of the two lands of Kemet, ergo Egyptian yoga. It means uniting upper and lower consciousness. The two lands refer to the two main districts of the country, north and south. In ancient times, Egypt was divided into two sections of land areas. They were known as Lower and Upper Egypt. In ancient Egyptian mystical philosophy, the land of Upper Egypt, or Kemet, relates to the divinity Neteru, who represents the higher self, and the land of Lower Egypt relates to Set, the divinity of the lower self. So Sima, or Smai Tawi, means the union of the two lands, or the union of the lower self with the higher self. And it's got the hieroglyph here. I know it's backwards, YouTube, I apologize, but I am going to learn how to fix that. The lower self relates to that which is negative and uncontrolled in the human mind, including worldliness, egoism, ignorance, etc., or sect, or fetters of sect. Thank you, Hazy Galaxy. Oh, I really appreciate you. Yes, thank you so much for tuning in that binding, I don't know that word. After I'm done with the reading for today, we'll have people come on, we can talk about the reading. So Smai Tawi means the union of the two lands, or the union of the lower self with the higher self. The lower self, oh, I read that part. Okay, so Heru Set, or the union of Heru and Set, is also another term for Smai Tawi. So Smai Tawi, Heruset are the ancient Egyptian or ancient Kemetic words which are to be translated as Egyptian yoga. Shedi means to penetrate the mysteries, to study the wisdom teachings deeply and gain insight into their meaning. And here's the word for Shedi. So it's studying Rekab, but also the practice of the disciplines that I mentioned before. What are the disciplines of Shedi? There are 4 aspects of Shedi, of the spiritual practice. Sejim, listening to the teachings. Ma'at, right action. Uwashu, devotion to the divine, devotion to God. And Uwa, meditation. Each discipline of Shedi is designed to inform, purify, elevate, and establish the Shinsu, that's people who follow this path, on the path to awakening. These are the steps to the effective practice of religion. I don't like to use the word religion, I say a spiritual practice, that will lead a human being to maturity and spiritual realization. So it is clear to see that Uwashu, or Ushet, that's devotion, is an integral aspect of Shatau Neter, hidden divinity, and the discipline of Shedi, study, or the spiritual practices, is a form of Sima yoga practice. So in this instance, yoga is more than just the postures. The volume is low. Okay, let me fix it. I have a microphone. I'm waiting for the phone to charge. So thank you for letting me know. Ask. Thank you. I'm saying yoga in this tradition is more than just the postures. It's more than just the breathing exercises. It's the postures, the breathing exercises, the meditation, the study the teachings, recap, listening to the teachings from a spiritual preceptor or teacher, like in person, video's good, sejam, ma'at actions. Your actions are so that, we talked about RU last week. Write that down. RU is similar to karma, but it takes it a step further. RU is every thought, see this word, every thought, word expressed, every desire, from your past lives, from your past, from your ancestors. It's more than just what you do comes back to you. It's what you thought, what you think comes back to you. So Ma'at action is a way to live your life so that you're able to purify your RU and only make positive RU so that you don't have to reincarnate. That's the goal of life, is to attain enlightenment so that you don't have to reincarnate. Okay, so this means that there is no contradiction between the practice of religion or spirituality and yoga. Rather, the Sima yogic movement should be thought of as a technology to make the spiritual practice effective. I'm just going to substitute spiritual practice for religion. In fact, from this advanced practice of the spiritual practice, the practice of religion without the disciplines that purify the heart and lead to a metaphysical realization of higher consciousness. That doesn't make sense. Let me read this again. In fact, from this advanced the practice of religion without the disciplines that purify the heart and lead, I see what he's saying, and lead to a metaphysical realization of higher consciousness cannot be considered as a viable religious system for attaining spiritual awakening. So what he's saying is most of the religions today are missing the spiritual technology that will allow you to reach a higher level. Most of the religions of today, you have to go through someone, you have to give them money, and that's the only way you can reach a higher level. And so he's really saying that's what differentiates a religious practice from a spiritual practice. Just a really long sentence. Therefore, the aspirant should practice the disciplines of devotion no matter what inclination there may be towards religion or yoga techniques. Both are necessary for ultimate success. And then one more paragraph. The purpose of divine worship. This manual has been composed with original prayers, words of power, and meditations on the divine from ancient Kemetic sources. Due to the scope of this volume, it would be impossible to explain in detail the mystical teachings contained in each utterance. However, we have attempted to provide a basic knowledge related to the prayers and utterances. It is strongly suggested that you seek further instruction from the Neteru book series. You may send for the Egyptian Yoga Catalog and the Egyptian Yoga Guide. That's from when this was not online. Like, they still had cassettes. That's how ancient this book is. These two free pamphlets provide information about the teachings and contents of the book series on ancient Egyptian yoga and mystical spirituality. The purpose of Ushett is to engender understanding and closeness with the divine. So as you study and practice the teachings, their deeper, subtle, and mystical meaning will be revealed to you automatically. Nefer. Oh, Dua for joining and for following me, the transformational lady. And thank you for liking the live. We just had a brief reading from the Neteru devotional manual. This is Neterian Devotion Thursdays, where we study different aspects of devotional practice that can help you in your own practice. So we left off, where are we leaving off? I want to mark where we left. Oh, so what are Uwashu and Sheni? Okay. Just want to welcome you to the live. Good rising, great awakenings. Thank you for tapping the screen. Thank you. And what else can I talk about? Oh, and then if you are interested in studying hieroglyphs, I'm not the person to study hieroglyphs. I'm the one who knows what some of the words mean, and I use them in my devotional practice and chanting and music composition. But if you really want to study the hieroglyphs, I recommend you follow Kemetic Bars here on TikTok, and she breaks it down. She does the hieroglyphs right there before you, and it's a really good informative live stream. Kemetic Bars. I don't know if it's Kimmy's Got Bars or Kemetic Bars, but you'll find it. But we will be learning some of these terms, and I'm old-fashioned of writing them down on the wall. So let's see if there's anyone still in that wants to join the live. I think they already left. I'm going to have to just invite them on when it happens. I'm just learning how to do the lives here. So let's see if this person is still on. Good rising, Crystallis Wellness. Would you like to join the conversation? Today is Neterian Devotion Thursday, and we're talking about different topics of spiritual practice, spirituality, and talking about the Neterus. If anybody wants to join the conversation, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. And if you're interested in more like an actual devotional program, I did several for a couple of years, live streams. You can find them on YouTube, where I'd go through my spiritual practice right before you online. And I stopped doing that way because I was not able to engage with the audience. Oh, okay. These are pinhole glasses. They force your eyes to focus instead of magnify what you look at. I've been wearing them for 20 years. And if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be able to read the screen at all. They make your eyes stronger. And you can buy them from me, lightbeingwellness.com/shop. I just got in a new shipment. I have lots and lots of pairs. And, I use them for computer work, for reading, because without them, it's just kind of blurry. The thing about them is you have to be in a well-lit room, and I'm not. I brought a lamp. Just to turn it on. The sun is rising so late now that it's dark at 6 in the morning, and I almost overslept. Because usually the light wakes me up. So this morning at 7, it was still really dark in here. Here's some light so I can see even better. Okay. Yeah, so they're pinhole glasses, and there's a book called Take Off Your Glasses and See, where you can do exercises to strengthen your eyes. The author of the book is an optometrist who says he got tired of writing stronger prescriptions for his patients. So he started pushing these and the exercises you can do with your eyes. You know, we talk about those on Wellness Wednesdays, but yeah, I've been wearing them for 21 years now. I found out about them in 2003, and I'd highly recommend them. You can buy them at lightbeingwellness.com. I will be adding them to my TikTok shop, and I just haven't added my products there yet for some reason. All right, so let's take a minute to, I just happened to choose this book, but before we do any readings from the Pergamon Room, which is this book by Dr. Ashby. Good rising, Tony, Great Awakenings. Thank you for joining the live. The Book of the Dead is known by most people, but it's actually the Book of Coming Forth by Day. And it's a book of spells, prayers, intentions, affirmations for us to read during our life and during the passing, when someone is dying or getting ready to die or after they've died, and at the memorial. And it's passages that are written so that when our body dies, we can pass on to eternity without any glitches, basically. And you're supposed to live your life in such a way, like I said earlier, to cleanse your REU, but live your life in such a way that there's no glitches at the end. And one thing we're really supposed to do is have some of these passages memorized so that while we're dying, we'll be reciting these words, singing these words, to make sure we have a safe journey to the netherworld with no glitches. And that's why I've taken it upon myself to put music to these passages. And I have a few I've already done, but not nearly enough. So hopefully the next half of my life, I will get more done. However, before you read from the Pergamon Room, we're instructed to recite these prayers. And when I was going live, thank you so much for following me. Smile lead, thank you. And I don't know if you're going to stick around, but after I'm done reading, I'll invite people on for conversation. I'm trying to get through the teachings first, because when we start talking, I'll get distracted, and I want to make sure we cover. So before you read from this book, you're supposed to recite these prayers. Good rising, Malik Prince. I'm not here to do match games. Thank you. But when I was going live, it took up a lot of time. Good rising, Great Awakenings, Laverne. So I came up with Spirit gave me this chant to recite in place of these two. And then when I have time, I do these. So I'm just going to do this one. And it will be on my next Blue Lotus Speak album. And it's reference to Neteru, the omnipresent divine spirit. And then Kepera, the creator of the gods and goddesses of the cosmic forces of nature. And then Asar. Neteru came forth as Kepera in order to manifest creation, and then came forth as Asar in human form to manifest the universal soul. So this chant is on adoration to those three. Om Neteru Kepera Asar. Om Neteru Kepera Asar. Om Neteru Kepera Asar. yeah, so when I start doing the devotional offerings again, they will be by subscription. You'll become a temple member, an online temple, virtual temple member. And these live streams where I'm just rambling about my favorite topics are just that, have more conversations and engage more with the people who are stopping by. Good rising, users in Goddess Alchemy. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so now I'm going to have a reading from this book, volume 3 of Purdy Maru. This is one of his books. Yes, I know you all want to do match games. I'm not trying to do that. Thank you. But I will have, after I have a reading from this book, I will have people come on live and we can just talk, okay? So this is volume 3, and he's developed this trilinear method where he has the actual hieroglyph and then the literal translation, and then he has his interpretation and translation. And the difference between Ashby's translations and other translations, his translations focus on leading us to enlightenment. That's the whole purpose. In his world, the whole point of these is to become enlightened and live in such a way that we don't have to reincarnate. And I just got so much benefit from studying with them. In fact, it was Seva Jah that got me to recognize my ego, the egoism in me, and how to turn away from it. Because up until then, like I said, I didn't know myself. I didn't know the difference between myself and my ego. I've been studying lots of traditions, Rastafari, Black Hebrew Israel, Turtle Island, medicine music, medicine wheel. I studied Hindu Vedic yoga. I studied Japanese Buddhism, and I still did not know the difference between myself and my ego. That says a lot, right? That's why I'm so. And I also studied Mayan astronomy for a while, and I didn't know. But now that I know, now that I have that key to the universe, I can go back to these other teachings and glean what I missed before I knew myself. So this is volume 3, featuring teachings of Jehuti, the cosmic mind. Mystic chapters of the cosmic mind, chapters from the Book of Breathings, chapters of the mystic path of meditation for discovering absolute being. All right, so I'm just going to randomly, and if you do buy Ashby's book, someone once complained to me because he says it's the same information in every book. And that's the first chapter. The first chapter is the same in every book because he wants everyone to get the proper introduction to Egyptian yoga. If you bought volume 6 because you were drawn to it but hadn't read Egyptian Yoga volume 1, then you would be lost. So he includes a summary of Egyptian Yoga volume 1 in every book. But right now I'm just going to randomly open this book and read from it. And that is one way that I do my study when I do the Rek'ab or the Sejim. Unless I'm like really into my practice and I'm reading from the same book 1 page a day, which I have done, but right now I'm not in that space. So I opened it to page 126 and 127, and I already read my opening prayer. Whenever you read from the Purdy Maru, you have to remember to start with your opening prayer, either the one that's in the Purdy Maru or the one that's for Osmadashi Temple, the Om Never Shikapasam. All right, so this is verse D. This is teachings. Well, you know what? I'm just going to start with page 125. Just go through the whole chapter. Teachings of New Kingdom, Purdy Maru, number 11. Follower of Jehuti, brings sweet wind to nostrils. Shoe shines like a shoe shine. Only shoe is the God or the cosmic force of the air and the breath. Shu shines, cleansing, enlightening light, and purifies the body. From the hymn to Asar. So first I'm going to read the Kemetic. I'm just going to read the Kemetic and then Dr. Ashby's. I'm not going to read the literal because that one doesn't always make sense. Iyu a im shemsi im jehuti. Hai kua im arit, my name. NF neb an NF NK nafu. Oh, you know what? This is one of the chapters that I wrote a beautiful song to and could not find it. Okay, I'm not going to try to sing it now. But this is the verse. This is the chapter. Now I know I can find it now. Okay. Hai kua im arit nf neb an nf nk nafu. Nejim in find ke ank was in hair ke nefer. It is I who am in the following of the god Jehuti, and therefore I am guided by the principle that he represents, intellect born of cosmic mind. I extend praises, exaltations, and my adorations for what is occurring through the deed of Lord Jehuti, of his bringing to me air's atmosphere, nafu is air or breath, that are sweet smelling to the nose. This sweet smelling air is life flowing from your personality, O Jehuti, and it is beautiful nasal perception in life that flows from knowing the wisdom of truth, more immortality and existence. Metu pert imtemu er sherati ke neb. Tajazer duf uben in shu. Hershent bet heru ke. Sehejef in ke wat zenket deref in ke. It is northern life-giving air coming out from within the god Temu, the cosmic force of creation and completion, accomplishment and conclusion of the function of your nostrils, which breathes the air of pure subtlety and luminous spirit consciousness. You are Lord of the exalted land, Kemet. He allows there to be illumination that comes from Shu, the ethereal light that emanates from Ra, the spirit, to make the skin, the casing of the personality, to light up for you, like Heru. Causing light and by his illumining for you the spiritual path by means of the solar rays, which he destroys for you. Dutu ari auke im shuaku tepra f, which he destroys for you, the unrighteousness that was in the limbs of the body, which are the organs of action. This cleansing illumination by means of fullness with spirit will luminosity through the breathing process. Spirit will, creative words, luminous ethereal light, was accomplished through breathing the ethereal light, Shu, that is now governor of his mouth and thus controls creative words, allowing unobstructed expansion in consciousness. Dua Hatep. Wow, that's powerful. Okay, so this is an illustration of Shu. Here in the middle, holding up. It's backwards to me. Separating Nut from Geb, separating the earth from the sky. This is Shu. Oh, that was really powerful. So here's some of the highlighted text by Dr. Ashby. The root meh relates to fullness, therefore filling with air. The god Shu is referenced as having a power of illumination, as he also represents ether and space. This light may be termed ethereal light and is said to proceed from Ra. The determinative is the ancient glyph of Heru. I really like the part, he allows there to be illumination that comes from Shu, the ethereal light that emanates from Ra, the spirit, to make the skin, the casing of the personality, to light up for you, like Heru. You know, like when they say, when you see a person and they're like lit up, like people come to me and they say they like my aura, my energy. You know, that's because my level of consciousness has activated this light that you can see from the exterior. You can see it in people. You can see their ethereal light shining through. So that was beautiful. Do a Jehuti, do a Shu, do a Sebama, do a Sebaja. Okay. All right, so the last 30 minutes, we just open it up for people on TikTok can
join the live stream and communicate. People of you that are still on YouTube, if you have any questions, just type them in the chat box and I will do my best to answer them. I really appreciate you all being here today. I just started going live again. Okay, let's see who's on here now. D is on here. If you want to join the conversation, please just accept my invitation. And there's someone else on here with the green. I don't see they must have been on here a long time. I really appreciate you tuning in. 80% of my live goal is completed. Wow. I've never had that happen. Oh, Raseki Arts Temple was here for a minute. I know there's somebody. Oh, well, whoever is still on here with the green, is that Natural Mystic? I don't think so. If you're still on here, just send me a comment so I can invite you to the live if you want to join the conversation. If not, I'll just keep rambling. Yes, thank you for tuning. I'm going to change my sign. It says to say thank you for tapping your screen instead of kindly tap your screen. If you're still on, please tap your screen a few times. That does help your content creator. And then also, if you're still on, you consider joining my team. Then I don't really understand it, but it benefits the content creator and the viewer. Whenever I join someone's live, I actually stay there and tap the screen 1,000 times. I just tap her 1,000 and I join their team. So that's just a suggestion. Okay, well, since there's no questions, I will continue reading and discussing this book, The Cosmic Science of the Ancient Masters. This is one of the books I was talking about when I was reading this. This is author is Professor Hilton Hotema. Hilton Hotema is an American person of the North, what some would call a white person. I don't use that term anymore. Or a person of European descent, who realized that he was an ancient Egyptian priest back in the day. And he just started downloading all these amazing books, really. And this is how I got introduced to metaphysics and spirituality, was from Professor Hilton Hotema, and then a series of yoga books from the Yogi Publication Society. And then eventually I found melanated or aboriginal, what you would call black authors. Yeah, but this is another example of a book that when I was reading it, I didn't really understand. And now that I've studied ancient Kemetic spirituality for I studied 12 years with my teacher. Now I'm doing my own studies. Now I understand. Now I have the keys to understand the wisdom that's locked in some of these books. So I just thought I would read some of this too. Okay, so here's chapter 6. And I don't agree with everything that he says now because I've studied so much more. But he does have a lot of really powerful wisdom. And even here on the cover, what does he have? He has the Dendeta, the astrology chart from Dendeta. Have you seen it? The one that the colonizers stole from the temple in Dendeta, Temple of Neteru, and put a replica there. So when you go to Kemet, go to Egypt, you go to the Temple of Neteru, you go upstairs to the beautiful room where they have the myth of Asar and his resurrection and everything, and you look up. You say, oh, that's beautiful. It's a replica, and the real one is at a museum in Paris. It's disgusting. But anyway. Natural science. So right away, I don't agree with the first word. The word nature comes from nase, to be born, and we believe the word nature comes from the word neter, or neture. But anyway, it means the existing order of all things, all of creation, the material world. The definition may be extended to include the spiritual world. Nature is that which really is. True science is a correct description of how it is, while logical reasoning is the process of the description. The ancient masters, who were the ancient Kemetic teachers, priests, and priestesses, were students of nature. They were naturists of the first order. Their system of worship was naturism. Their gods symbolized the powers of nature. The supreme ruler of all was the cosmic power of the universe. In their study of the destiny of man, the masters logically turned to nature for guidance. In her vicissitudes in the vegetable kingdom, nature seemed to pass through a process of dissolution and revival. The universal power was identified with the changes in nature and the forces, some light on here. The forces in nature symbolized in the religious dramas of the ancient mysteries was worshipped with imitative and sympathetic rites. The ancient masters concentrated on those eternal attributes of these forces, before which men in all ages, when guided by the true light, have instinctively bowed down, and before even our ablest scientists are constrained to bend in awe and reverence, if not in adoration. To term these ancient masters heathens and idolaters is not only gross injustice to them and their work, but an admission of modern ignorance. Oh, I guess I've been on for an hour. TikTok, please let me pass your test. Yay! I can keep going. Sometimes when you have to do the little puzzle piece, if the camera is shaking, then it doesn't work. So I just wanted to stop there about ignorance. Ignorance, that's really the cause of evil, the cause of wickedness, the cause of suffering is ignorance of the divine. Because when you are thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to join in the conversation, just leave me a comment that you'd like to join. Let's see, is she still here? And I don't just let everyone in, because some people are trying to play the match game and I don't know how to turn it off. So I'm only inviting people that I know, or if I follow them and I know their content. And if you'd like to join in this conversation on Neterian Devotion Thursdays, where we're talking about Neters and spiritual practices, just leave me a comment and then I'll bring you in. That's how I'm doing it for now. But ignorance of the divine is the cause of evil and wickedness, the cause of violence, the cause of abuse. These are fetters of Set. And even the cause of being shy or lack of self-confidence, like me, or not knowing yourself. It's really ignorance of the divine is at the root of all evil. And in the Neterian tradition, there's no such thing as the devil, there's no Satan, there's not even a hell. That's all part of Western imperialism. There's only Set. Set is the cosmic force of egoism. And if you allow Set to rule you, then you're allowing your ego to rule you. You're allowing your ignorance to rule you. Let's see if I have... I don't know where the image is. I need to have my artwork available. See, right now I'm renovating my temple space, and so the room is all like discombobulated, and I don't know where my things are. But I was looking for an image of Set where he's at the front of the boat. And maybe if I just look up Set. I won't spend a lot of time looking for this, I promise. But we're supposed to live our life in such a way so that our ego is protecting us. It's protecting our boat on our journey. They have a list of illustrations. It usually does, but... Okay, here we go. The boat, we're on the boat with Mott at the bow. Well, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so Set is supposed to be at the front of your boat of the journey of your life, and he's stabbing the snake of Apep, which represents chaos. You can't see me stabbing. He's stabbing the snake that's trying to attack your boat and disrupt your day, because it's the journey of Ra. We're sitting on our boat and we're going through our life, and if we allow Set to take control of the steering, then Set will just drive us to egoism and ignorance and wickedness and abuse and people that want to hurt us. He'll drive us to his homies. You know, Set has homies or minions that do his dirty work. But when we can turn to Heru and let Heru, our spiritual aspiration, steer our boat, and then we have Set at the front of the boat, attacking the chaos, attacking the ignorance. And if you're familiar with the Assyrian resurrection, or the Lion King, when Set kills Asar, and then Heru, his son, has to come and redeem the soul. Heru did not win the battle with Set because he overpowered him, or because he killed him, or because he put him in a cage. Like some people say, kill your ego. Don't listen to your ego. All that. That's not Neterian. No, Set sublimated himself. Set realized he would never be able to defeat Heru, because Heru's mother is Aset, and Aset is divine intuition. So when you tune into your divine intuition, you embrace the goddess Aset, you will always defeat the ego. You will always defeat Set. So I just got on a tangent there. Oh, okay, ignorance, that's what it was. To learn these, and so the modern world, Western imperialism, has deemed these ancient traditions and ancient ways and Aboriginal people as heathens or pagans. Anyone that didn't join the church was considered a heathen or a pagan. And then they turned all the words around, turned it against us, and has left humanity in a state of ignorance. Ignorance of the divine, ignorance of truth, ignorance of reality, right? Okay, so if you're just tuning in, I'm reading from the Cosmic Science of the Ancient Masters, Professor Hilton Otema. He was probably the first spiritual teacher books that I was following. The person that introduced me to these books was my first teacher, Basil Abed. But at the time, I didn't have the keys of ancient Kemet, so a lot of these words just went over me. It still impacted me. You still benefit from listening to the teachings, but you have to study a long time to get the hidden divinity, Shaitan Neter. Okay, just read a little bit more. And in case anyone wants to join the live, just leave me a comment. Let me know you're ready to join a conversation. I'll let you in. Rosalinda. I think I know Rosalinda. To join the conversation. Or if you have any questions on YouTube, just type them in the chat. And I hope the volume is better now. What is the name of the book? It's backwards. Cosmic Science of the Ancient Masters, Professor Hilton Otema. He's got some wonderful books. He's got, what's it? The Hidden Mystery of, It's been so long. And you know, I had a collection of his books and it was stolen. My entire library was stolen when I moved to Chicago. The book you really need to read by Professor Hilton Otema is his books about Apollonius, who his research shows is the person who lived the life that they wrote the books about Jesus Christ based on Apollonius. Hidden Mysteries of Christianity, Hidden Mystery of Jesus Christ, Hidden Mystery Man of the Bible. Mystery Man of the Bible. That is the one. Like this one you'll read later. Yes, Mystery Man of the Bible. I found a publisher that makes them now. I was getting them from the book called Tree of Life, and I just recently found a new publisher. So I'm starting my collection again. I had like 25 of his books. They were being considered antiques. Some of them were gifted to me by my teacher from the 60s. And then I had some that were printed in the 80s. And somebody stole all my books. But yeah, Mystery Man of the Bible, Cosmic Teachings of Cosmic Science of Ancient Masters. Lost my train of thought. Oh, about Western imperialism, how they turned the teachings against us. But I'm going to read a little bit more. Okay. These masters reasoned that we may discover the qualities and powers of creation by studying its work. Okay, so that's the same thing as getting to know the gods and goddesses. Okay, are you reading The Tree of Life by Dr. Ashby? Dr. Wada Ashby? This is my current teacher. I don't read all of his books, but I've read many of his books, and I've learned so much from his work, his body of work. I was an active member of the community. I was online. I was a temple musician. I was writing songs for them, everything. And then I just had to leave and develop my own practice more. But yes, he has a wonderful book on the Tree of Life, the Kemetic Tree of Life. Okay, good. And then these books. I don't think he would approve of these books, but they have some gems in them. Okay, so as I was saying, we may discover the qualities and powers of creation by studying its work. And so to me, that is the gods and goddesses, the ideal solids, the sounds, the frequencies, the movements of the gods and goddesses, the Akusaneb or Neteru. See that, like when I read that book 40 years ago, that line didn't mean anything to me. Now I know exactly what it means. And that's what I'm getting ready to build on and share. I finished my book, Hesu Neteru, and I'm going to start teaching the yoga class, and this is getting ready to happen. No better object was offered for this study than man himself. Know thyself, and you'll know the universe. As man is produced by the same powers that produce all natural phenomena, he must be subject to all its laws. So by studying the processes of creative forces in nature, the gods and goddesses are the cosmic forces in nature, the Neteru, the masters determined both the origin and destiny of man. So according to Dr. Seba Ma, Seba Ma teaches us, according to the Proverbs, which I haven't found my book of Proverbs, that we're supposed to become like the gods and goddesses and learn to create the same way they do. In fact, goddess Aset, she started off as a human, right, and asked Ra his name. Once you know the name of the cosmic force, then you can master the power of the cosmic force. And he didn't want her to know his name because he'd be like, then you know my name, then anybody could create their own creation the way I create this creation. But that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to create our own creation, which is to manifest our enlightened lifestyle. So here he is telling us what we're supposed to do, but if you hadn't studied with Seba Ma, you wouldn't know what he's talking about. I love it. This is amazing. Oh, that's one thing I didn't mention earlier about the Tef Neteru, Sima Pao, or the Aku Saneb. When you have your Neterian spiritual practice, earlier I went through all the things that I include in my practice, and I'll put this chart up again. Uashu, Recab study, Chemitones, Kemetic sound healing, Akusaneb, the reflective movement meditation system, reading the backwards, Hekau chanting, Uwa meditation, Limpesia botanicals, like creating a sacred space. Learning how to create the way that they create. I lost my train of thought again. Learning how to create the same way they create, going through these processes, going through these tools and these steps. Oh, now I remember. I'm sorry. You can either do the full practice like that, going through all the different channels, which I love because I love the devotion and the meditation and the study. Or if you're just interested in the postures, the yoga reflective meditation movement system, you can obtain enlightenment, the same benefits, just by going through the whole process, because those postures are set up in such a way to mimic or reflect the process of creation. You start as Nebuchadnezzar still, then Kepra, where, you see the hieroglyphs when he was putting his hand to his head, and then you sit up and you're Nefertem in the lotus, and then you rise up as not Shu, as Nu. You rise up holding the bolt of Ra, and then your Shu separating the earth from the sky. You go through the whole process of creation. And when you're doing that with consistency, you will see the changes. I certainly did. When I finally got my life organized to the point where I was doing it on a regular basis with all the other things on the list, I actually got to that point. And then something in my practical life came up that needed my attention and took me away, And like I said, on November 1st, I'm coming back into it. I'm going to start up again. But if you are not interested in doing all those other practices, if you follow Tef Neteru or Aku Seneb, which is my version of Tef Neteru, you can go through this creative process using the creative forces of nature, the gods and goddesses, getting as close to them as you can, becoming like them, living the way they live, dressing the way they dressed. Like, you can just become so enmeshed with them that you become that particular goddess or god. Okay. It's so powerful. Okay. Of the creative power, that most ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead that we are reading from briefly from time to time on Neterian Thursdays. But make sure you get the version by Seba Budge's version. He's still into Western imperialism. Don't read anything by Egyptologists. Don't even bother, because their whole point is to keep us trapped in this reality and keep buying books from them. The only one that I've come across that I trust is Dr. Ashby. And I know there's others, but that's the one that I trust. Okay, the Book of the Dead said, I have the power to be born a second time. And then he also, in Hotema, he always gives references to where you'll find that plagiarized verse in the Bible. But I'm not going to go and read that, because I'm not going to bother with that. But just know that whenever he quotes an ancient master in his work, he'll show you where you can find it in the Bible. Okay, I will. John 3, 5, and 7. My guide said, no, tell them where they can find it in the Bible. They might want to find it. And for those of you that are still on my live, if you have a moment to just tap the screen, I really appreciate it. As long as I get over 1,000, I'm really satisfied. And it looks like I have, so I don't have to worry about it. So I still need to welcome you to the live Good Rising, Great Awakening. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to change that to thanks for tapping the screen. I'll make a new sign. Okay. Just going to read a little bit more from this, and then we'll be done. As spirit, I enter the body as man, and come forth again as spirit, and look down upon my form, which is that of man. To the neophyte, the great Hierophant of the ancient mysteries said, quote, cast your eyes upon this motionless figures. After death, you yourself will resemble it, unquote. So I'm reasoning that every time he says ancient masters, he's actually talking about the ancient Kemetic masters. In the ancient scriptures, there is only one story. The masters who did the writing had but one narrative to relate. The series of allegories in the Bible do not cover a wide range of conditions, but the same condition in endless repetition. Well, that's because they got it from. We know where they got it from. That central theme is 1, the incarnation of spirit and matter, and 2, life eternal. The whole work is summed up in this statement, quote, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. John 6:3. When cosmic spirit becomes incarnate to produce man, it was implied that, in analogy to his assured character, he knew all the conditions of his visible existence. This ancient wisdom passed down through the masters until the days of the invasions, 4th century AD. That's when they got together and created the Bible. 354, the Nicene Council. When a newly born theology destroyed the ancient wisdom, by literalizing the biblical allegories and thus making things appear in a false light. See, when I first read this, I didn't know what I know now. Like I was telling, 614, check out the book Mystery Man of the Bible by Professor Hilton Hotema, who was an American or European that realized in a past life he had been a Kemetic priest, and all these amazing books came forth. This was back in the 60s. This book was first published in 1964. I first found it in 1986. 1984, 85 is when I started studying with Hotema. Okay, just a few more paragraphs. The deep secrets of cosmic processes discovered by the masters were concealed from the world at large by fables, parables, allegories, fiction, and symbols. Oh, you mean hieroglyphs? And myths that lead to mystical experiences. That's what separates spirituality from religion. When you're in a religion, there's no room for you to have a mystical experience. There's only room for you to listen to what they say and do what they do. And repeat. That's what religion means, is to repeat. But when you're in a spiritual practice, you have a mystical experience which raises your vibration, brings you closer to the divinity. That's the difference. They never dreamed that supposedly intelligent men would at a later date become so depraved and ignorant as to interpret these literally. Yeah. Okay. Let's see, what does the clock say? I'm going to keep going. This is too powerful. I can't think of anything else to say other than respond to what he's saying. The masters always wrote under the forms of figure, without suspecting that the wisest savants of a distant era would be, forms of figure, oh, that's the hieroglyphs, would be so blinded by the forces of obscurantism, Western imperialism, and caucasity, as not to realize that the ancient writings spoke only in terms of these earthly forms that adumbrate. I love the words he uses, adumbrate. I've never heard that word. Spiritual realities. As man is an epitome of the universe, he is subject to its laws. So the masters were on solid ground when they cited vegetation as a graphic example of cosmic processes, asar, and used that principle to teach the neophyte, the aspirant, the processes of creation. So scientifically, applying creative law to man, they drew an augury of human immortality by reference to the planting and sprouting of grain. Okay, drop the mic. Planting and sprouting of grain. He's talking about asar. Have you seen that image, the hieroglyph, where it's asar laid out on a funeral pyre, and grain or wheat is growing out of him, and then one of his attendees is watering him? And I just learned recently that the green maize god from the Olmec and asar are basically the same, one and the same. So here's talking about vegetation. The augury of human immortality, that's asar, by reference to the planting and sprouting of grain. This is so much fun. Okay, here we go. Apollonius of Tyana. Wasn't I just talking about him? The person that the myth of Jesus Christ is based on the life of Apollonius. And to read the book called Mystery Man of the Bible by Professor Hotema, he's talking about Apollonius. The funny thing is, I'm going to finish reading this page, but the next section is Apollonius of Tyana. I didn't plan this. I don't make any plans when I'm doing these live streams. I'm just coming on and talking. Okay, Apollonius of Tyana, born February 16th AD. That would make him in the Western system an Aquarius, but in the 13-month system he'd be a Capricorn. Died at Ephesus in AD 103. Was the great philosopher of the 1st century. He was a master of ancient mysteries of Greece, Egypt, and India. He was employed and used by the Roman Emperor Vespasian as his oracle and magician. Apollonius preached the essence of the Hindu religion of Rome, at Rome, Athens, Antioch, Philippi, Ephesus, Alexandria, Jerusalem, and many other places. He went to Jerusalem when he was 33 years old. On his approach, he was hailed with hosannas and songs of praise to one that cometh in the name of the Lord, Matthew 21:9. He was the Paul of the New Testament, the Jesus of the four Gospels, the author of the so-called John Gospel and Revelation. The so-called Pauline epistles were compiled from his work. All his writings were interpolated and distorted by the compilers of the New Testament. In chapter 1 or 1 Corinthians 15:35, Apollonius explained the resurrection doctrine by propounding the questions: how are the dead raised up, and with what body do they come? Of course, he studied ancient Kemet, there it is, mysteries of Greece, Egypt, okay. By employing the examples, certain agricultural analogies well known to every farmer. He began with fundamentals by observing the laws of germination as a prelude to a comprehension of spiritual, not physical, resurrection. There you have it. So tune in next Thursday when we'll have reading from the next section, Apollonius of Tyana. And I know this isn't part of Neterian devotion, but it is part of understanding the Western imperialism that took our practices away from us and reformatted them and presented them to us in such a way whereas the majority of our people, Aboriginal descendants or indigenous people of the four directions, are completely caught up by Western imperialist religion. And perhaps if we understand this more now that we have the keys, it helps me when I have to communicate with them, because you can't just start talking to someone about ancient Kemet if they're still celebrating Christmas or Easter or tithing, or they come at me a lot of times with verses from the Bible, and I'm not versed well enough in the Neteru to tell them what passage it came from. But I'm having a feeling that by studying Hotema's work, it could be like a bridge between the two. And I guess that's why I've been guided to share at the beginning from the Neteru, and at the end from Professor Hilton Hotema, and then we'll get a nice bridge to we need to communicate with people that are still brainwashed, and we'd like to help them understand their hidden divinity. And I promise next time, YouTube, I'm going to learn how to have this turned around so that you don't have to read it backwards. Because we will be studying different terms, and I like writing them on the wall, and then I'm going to go through and compile them and then put out like a little directory for people who want to follow along. So, let's see, where are we at with the clock here? Since my wall is white, I can't see it. Oh, 9:32. Okay, got a few more minutes. Alrighty then, so today was a very wonderful Neterian Devotional Thursday. I had several people stop by and stay a while, and I had lots of comments. And if you're enjoying this presentation, I'll be back next, I don't like to say week, I say strength, next strength. Tuesday for Tamarican Tuesday, where we talk about nation building and the correlations between Kemet and Tamari. My goal is to build up the spiritual culture of Tamari, Tamarican, Olmec, from a Aboriginal perspective. I did study this quite a bit. I was a graduate student in astronomy, and then I went to cultural astronomy, and then I became a homeschooling mother, reggae singer, festival producer, co-op organizer, apartment building manager, sound healer, astrologer, herbalist, gardener, and Bach flower remedies. So I kind of got away from my research However, I've been instructed to get back to it. And so that's what we'll be talking about on Tuesdays. Then we have Wellness Wednesdays, where we'll be going through different topics of wellness and healing that I'm familiar with. We usually start off with an astrology reading for the day, unless the app isn't letting me log in and I don't get it ready in time. Then we have a little discussion on frequencies. Then I'll bring out either some chimes or tuning forks. We'll have a little mini sound healing session. And then I'll do a pendulum reading if someone's interested in getting a pendulum reading, seeing where they need to have blocks removed. And then some people might have wellness questions. We'll just start talking about wellness in general and my favorite tools. Yesterday I pulled out my Bach flower remedy kits and we learned about some of the Bach flower remedies. So I'll be here Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 8 until 9:30 a.m. This is Good Rising TV from Light Being Wellness Center and Asmachi Temple. And I've enjoyed being with you here today, those of you who are on the live stream, and also those of you who are going to be watching the replay. If you have any questions, you just inbox me or email me, lightbeingwellness@gmail.com. I have a website, lightbeingwellness.com. My music is at tachia.com. I have a website that I think it might be down. I have to check on it. Openyourmoneyflow.com. It's about improving your relationship with money, which is just energy, embracing abundance, but from a spiritual perspective. And I had a program where you could go through and we would do the 40-day prosperity plan together, and we do meditations and chanting and all kinds of things. And I'm working towards bringing that program back. So I'm on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. I have pages at other platforms, Twitter, Pinterest, Telegram, and Twitter, Pinterest, Telegram. I'm missing one. I have one more. But I'm not so active with them these days, but I am going to bring it back soon. Thank you for tuning in. This has been another presentation of Good Rising TV, and I'm just about to tune out for the day. I'm not sure about Frequency Fridays. We're not going to have any more Frequency Fridays this year. I may drop by on a sunny Friday, but I'm going to put that on pause until the spring. I will be doing the Spiral Dance Medicine Wheel on November 1st, which is at the middle of fall. It's a spiritual ceremony in honor of the indigenous people of the Four Directions, coming together, sharing the wisdom teachings, rising up to defeat Western imperialism. I do from time to time do a cosmic chimes and chanting session for like the full moon or the new moon, or when there's like 7 retrograde planets or some other celestial event. And I will be bringing back cosmic adorations when I do the Neterian devotion with music, when the planets align with the sacred hoop, or Orion, Sirius, and Gemini. And I'm going to start doing the Akusaneb Yoga Reflective Meditation Movement System. And when I start them again, not this spiral dance, but when I start them again, they will be by subscription for temple members, online temple members at Asamatashi Temple of Divine Light Healing and Sweet Sounds. And that will be by subscription. But these live streams will be just me rambling or us having conversations. Ucha, thank you for tuning in. I'm so sorry that I'm just about to wrap it up. We had a wonderful Thursday presentation, King Oruku Olorun. Ooh, I would love to have you on the conversation next time, because we're studying the Neteru, and that's not limited to Kemetic, ancient African, Egyptian. It's all the indigenous spiritual traditions follow the Neteru. They follow gods or goddesses or ancient ancestors. And I don't know your tradition, but I'm going by your name, Olorun. That reminds me of the Yoruba tradition. And I do follow Yemaya and Shango and Elegba. I do work with those energies to the best of my ability. I'm not with an official organization, but I sure would love to have a conversation with you in the future if you're ever available on a Friday from 8 Ifa. Yes, okay. I would love to have a conversation with you where we can talk about the correlations between the Neteru, the Kemetic, and the Orisha. Thursdays from 8 to 9:30 a.m. Central Time. I don't know if I'm following you. Let's see. I'll follow you back, and then next time I'm going to go live. I'll send you a reminder, and maybe you can join the conversation. My plan is, oh, thank you so much for the gift. What my plan is to have like readings from some books at the first half, and in the second half we have a conversation. So even if you can't come on at 8 a.m. Central Time, if you just come on anytime, then I open it up. I don't like to just open it up to anybody because sometimes they're doing match games, and I just want to have a conversation. So that's a wonderful way for me to end this session today. I'm so inspired and encouraged by your presence and your gifts, King Oruko Olorun. I would love to talk to you about the Orishas that I'm familiar with and learn about the ones I'm not. I have some really good questions, so this is wonderful. Okay, so I will be back Tuesday for a Tamarican Tuesday, Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday, and Thursday for Neterian devotion on Thursdays, 8 to 9:30 a.m. Central. This is Good Rising TV, brought to you by Light Being Wellness Center and Asmataji Temple of Divine Light Healing and Sweet Sounds. I hope you have a wonderful Thursday and a fantastic weekend, although I don't like to say week, strengths. I've been getting in tune with the Dogon calendar from Mali, which is based on Sirius, and theirs is connected to the Kemetic calendar, where each month has 3 strengths or 3 weeks of 10 days, and then 1 month of 5 days. So I'm training myself to say strengths instead of weeks. So I hope you have a very strong experience over the next few days, and that you'll join me on Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central. Hatap, peace, and Ashe. Thank you so much for tuning in and for staying around to the very end. And the replays, if you have any questions, just leave them for me and I'll get back to you. Hatap and Ashe.